Hello! Today I'll tell you about the geohistory of Malaysia. Malaysia is a country in Southeast Asia that was formerly known as Malaya, consisting of two regions separated by some 640 miles of the South China Sea. The Peninsula of Malaysia, or West Malaysia, on the Malay Peninsula bordered by the Thailand on the north and Singapore in the south, and Malaysia Borneo, or East Malaysia, located on the northern part of the islands of Borneo, in the South China Sea, bordering Indonesia and surrounding the Sultanate by the Brunei. The country shares also maritime borders with the Philippines and Vietnam. Malaysia is a multi-ethnic, multi-religion federation of 13 states and 3 federal territories. Malaysia covers a total area of 329,847 square kilometers, making it slightly larger than Norway or slightly larger than US state of New Mexico. On 16 September 1963, the federation was enlarged by the accessing of the states of Singapore, Sabah, formerly British North Borneo, and Sarawak. The name Malaysia was adopted from that date. Singapore left the federation on 9 August 1865. Some key dates in Malaysia history. The earliest evidence of modern human habitation in Malaysia is the 30,000-year-old school excavated from the Niah caves in the today's Sarawak, nicknamed Deep School. It was excavated from a deep trench uncovered by the Barbara and Tom Harrison, a British ethnologist, in 1858. This is also the oldest modern human school in Southeast Asia. There were numerous Malay kingdoms in the 2nd and 3rd centuries, as many as 30, mainly based on the eastern side of the Malay Peninsula. Among the earliest kingdoms known to have been based in the Malay Peninsula is the ancient kingdom of the Languska, located in the northern Malay Peninsula and based somewhere on the west coast. It was closely tied to Funan in the Cambodia, which also ruled part of the northern Malaysia until the 6th century. 1826 and 1824, British hegemony in Malaya, before the name Malaysia, was formalized by the Anglo-Dutch Treaty, which divided the Malay archipelago between the Britain and the northern lands. The Dutch evacuated Malacca and renounced all interest in Malaya, while the British recognized Dutch rule over the rest of the East Indies. By the 1826, the British controlled Penang, Malacca, Singapore, and the islands of Labuan, which they established as a crown colony of the Straits Settlements. Administered first under the East India Company until 1867, when they were transferred to the Colonial Office in London. 1895, 4 Malay states combined to form the Federation Malay States. 1842 to 1845, Japanese occupation. The outbreak of war in the Pacific in December 1941 found the British in Malaya completely unprepared. Because of the demands of the war in Europe, there was virtually no British air capacity in the Far East. The Japanese were thus able to attack from their bases in French Indochina with impunity, and despite stubborn resistance from British, Australian, and Indian forces, they overran Malaya in 2 months. Singapore, with no land defense, no air cover, and no water supply, was forced to surrender in February 1942. 1848. After the Japanese surrender from Malaya, Malayan Union was established in 1846 by the British administration, but following opposition by the ethnic Malays. The union was recognized as a Federation of the Malaya in 1848 as a protectorate state until 1857. In 1857, Federation of Malaya becomes independent. In the peninsula, the Malayan Communist Party took up arms against the British. A third military response ended the insurgency and brought about the establishment of the independence for Malaya on 31 August 1857 in a diplomatic manner through talks with the British. 1965. Singapore withdraws from Malaysia. On 16 September 1963, the Federation of Malaysia was formed following the merge of the Federation of Malaya, Singapore, Sarawak, and North Borneo, Sabah. Approximately 2 years later, the Malaysian parliament passed a bill without the consent of the signatories of the Malaysia Agreement 1963 to separate Singapore from the Federation. While the Singaporean leaders attempt to keep Singapore as a part of the Federation, the Malaysian parliament voted 126-0 on 9 August 1965 in favor of the expulsion of the Singapore. 2003. Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad steps down after 22 years in office. Under Mahathir Mohamad's long prime ministership 1981-2003, Malaysian political culture became increasingly centralized and authoritarian. Due to Mahathir's belief that the multi-ethnic Malaysia could only remain stable through controlled democracy. In 2003, Mahathir voluntarily retired in the favor of his new deputy Abdullah Ahmad Badawi. Key facts. Official name: Persecutor Malaysia. Short form: Malaysia. International log 4: Federation of Malaysia. Capital city: Kuala Lumpur. Population: 31.6 million people. Area: 329,847 square kilometers. Spoken languages: Malay official, English, Tamil, and Chinese. Currency: Malaysian ringgit. ISO country code: MY. Local time: +8 hours. Country calling code: +60. Bye! Be sure to subscribe to our channel and press the bell. My next video will be about the geohistory of Japan.